Welcome to Global Reality. Let's get started.
China's expansionism knows no bounds. First Doklam, then Eastern Ladakh, and now Arunachal Pradesh.
Skirmish in the disputed region on the India-China border.
Indian and Chinese troops clashed in the Tawang sector in Arunachal Pradesh.
Indian and Chinese troops have clashed along a de facto border.
Border tensions between India and China are escalating once again.
India has deployed 50,000 troops to its border with China. The military build-up has sparked concerns of a fresh conflict in the Himalayas.
When Pak-sponsored hooligans plundered and ravaged Jammu and Kashmir in 1948, the realization had dawned on India that the lofty Himalayas were not effective as a natural protective wall against enemies. Similarly, during the Indochina War in 1962, the absence of motorable roads in the Himalayas had been responsible for delays in troop and machinery deployments, leading to a humiliating and miserable defeat. For the Indian military, the disaster of 1962 did not end with the humiliation by China in the war. In a strategic blunder thereafter, the then Indian government decided not to develop its infrastructure along the China border, reasoning that India's infrastructure could be used by Chinese forces to make quick inroads into Indian territory. India was again caught napping when China built long roads across Upsc to connect with Xinjiang, its westernmost province. The information reached India only when the Chinese boasted of the remarkable piece of engineering in the newspapers. When China annexed Tibet in 1959, India remained a mute spectator. In 1962, when we lost a huge chunk of territory to China, one of our most dynamic leaders remained unfazed and explained that not a blade of grass grows in those territories. And that's why the loss wasn't that damaging. Years later, China went ahead with the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor that passes through Pak-occupied Kashmir with the same disregard for Indian sovereignty. In 2007, the then government decided to aggressively develop infrastructure along the border with China in a late and desperate measure to catch up with China's infrastructure build-up, and the government identified the construction of 73 strategically important roads to improve connectivity. Of this, 61 roads having a length of 3,400 km were entrusted to the BRO, Border Roads Organization, to be completed by 2012, and the balance 12 roads were handed over to other agencies like the Central Public Works Department, NBCC, and State Public Works Department. These roads were critical for the Indian Army to quickly mobilize men and equipment to the remote posts in the high altitude region. However, a CIG report tabled in the Parliament in 2017 revealed that not only the targets had not been met, but there were massive cost escalations too. Of the 61 roads scheduled to be completed by 2012, only 15 roads had been completed by 2012. The number of completed roads by March 2016 was 22, with huge cost overruns as well. This means 22 roads, or only 36% of the total work, had been completed up to March 2016. Despite 4,500 crores or 98% of the estimated cost of 4,644 crores had already been spent. China has always made slow invasion a part of its policy towards India. The Congress when in power turned a blind eye to the encroachment of Indian territories by the Chinese through continuous transgressions and border violations. Though India entered into as many as 6 bilateral agreements in 1988, 1993, 1996, 2005, 2012 and 2013, it did not address dispute over LESL. When the Chinese intruded and pitched tents deep inside India's territory at Depsang in 2013, the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh merely spoke in the Parliament about the Chinese having a different perception about the LESL. On September 6, 2013, A.K. Antony, the then Defence Minister, told the House that independent India had a policy for many years that best defense is not to develop the border. Underdeveloped border is safer than developed border. He also conceded in the Parliament that we have lost the infrastructure war to China.
In between, lot of things happened. have no hesitation to admit the reality. To admit the truth, I have no hesitation. Compared to India, in the area of building infrastructure, China is much advanced. Their infrastructure development is superior to India. We are only catching up. That is also history. Why? Independent India, many years as a policy on border, best defense is not to develop the border. Undeveloped border is more safe than developed border. So many years there was no construction of roads, airfields, nothing in the border areas. By that time, China continued to develop their infrastructure in the border areas.
Even as China continued to build infrastructure at fast pace to enable men and material to be deployed on border areas in the quickest manner possible. Having learned bitter lessons from the past, emphasis of the current government is now on building roads, airships, tunnels, bridges and helipads to meet the Chinese. In the last few years, there have been frequent face-offs in certain sensitive areas in eastern Ladakh. It has been the direct outcome of India's increased patrolling in the area due to vastly increased infrastructure facilities. After 2014, India created a strong road network through the Border Roads Organization and the Central Public Works Department, despite the small window during the year due to harsh weather. Infrastructure has developed on all borders, be it border outposts, border fencing and mobile towers. Three violent skirmishes between India and Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley and similar clashes at Tabang in Arunachal Pradesh not only toughened India's determination to ramp up infrastructure at the borders with urgency. The actions that followed rattled China as it faces resounding political will and Indian military might, and not the docile India it used to deal with before 2014.
It's not 1962 anymore, it's 2022, 60 years have passed.
This was evident in an article by Chinese mouthpiece Global Times, mocking India's border infrastructure projects, claiming India lacks strong experience in such projects and that India's construction capacity is limited. This intensity and determination has been extended to all border security related infrastructure such as border outposts, floodlights, fencing and patrolling. Let us now take a look at few of the most ambitious and prominent infrastructure projects. Arunachal Frontier Highway is perhaps India's biggest, toughest and the most ambitious border infrastructure project ever undertaken, to the extent that even before it was built, it was objected by China. A massive 40,000 crore undertaking which runs a massive 2,000 kilometers along the McMahon line all along the Indo-China border. Under this, New Delhi aims to build three highways: the Frontier Highway, the Trans-Arunachal Highway and the East-West Industrial Corridor Highway. 6 vertical and diagonal inter-highway corridors totaling 2,178 kilometers are also a part of the project to provide connectivity between the three major highways and provide faster access and movement of men and equipment to border areas. The Durbok-Shok-Dollar-Beg Oldie, or popularly known as Dstbo Road, is a strategic road planned nearly 2 decades ago but never got completed. This was fast-tracked by the Modi-led government, causing the Chinese to become increasingly worried. One apparent reason for China's sudden hostility was India's scaling up of the 14,100 feet high altitude Dstbo Road, as this road runs parallel to the Sino-Indian border. 255 kilometers in length, this strategic important road will go up to Karakoram Pass, which is near Xinjiang province of China. To the west of the road, there is Gilgit-Baltistan province, where China has invested heavily and gained huge presence. This road has been planned to give a major strategic advantage to India, affecting China's connectivity with Pakistan. The construction of this road has not only multiplied India's mobility in the region, but provides huge advantage to Indian troops, which can now oversee Pak's base adventure in the Gilgit-Baltistan region. This has rattled both the neighboring nations, China and Pakistan. I would like to remind you a statement by our Home Minister Shri Amit Shah in a Parliament House.
मैं जब जम्मू एंड कश्मीर बोलता हूं, माननीय सदस्य इसलिए एग्रेसिव हूं कि जम्मू एंड कश्मीर के पीएको को आप भारत का हिस्सा नहीं मानते हो क्या? एग्रेसिव ना हो, जान दे देंगे इसके लिए.
What makes the statement noteworthy is that it was backed by concrete actions.
Durbuk Shok Daulat Beg Oldie is one of the most strategic roads of the Indian Army. It connects Daulat Beg Oldie, which is the last post of the Indian Army, and it's at the base of the Karakoram Pass. This 255-kilometer strategic roads runs parallel to the LEC, and it increases the India's defense potential manifold. Earlier, it used to take around 7 days to reach Daulat Beg Oldie. Now with construction of this road, we are able to reach Daulat Beg Oldie in 1 day from Leh also.
Sela Tunnel. The construction of this tunnel connecting Guwahati, Assam and Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh with a length of 2.535 kilometers commenced on the 1st of April 2019 and is expected to be open to commuters by July 23. At a height of 13,000 feet by BRO at a cost of 647.21 crores. This bi-lane tunnel is heralded as a game changer in view of security and strategic regions. Not only will it cut the distance to the Chinese border through Tawang, the project will be a substitute to the existing Bilipara Chardivar Tawang road, which is visible to the Chinese from the line of actual control, which is a disadvantage to the Indian forces, and provide all-weather connectivity to Tawang and other forward areas as well.
Ela Pass remains to be one of the most formidable obstacles, especially in the winters when there is a lot of snow. It takes a lot of effort on part of the Border Roads organization to keep it through for the traffic, and even then only 4x4 vehicles with chains can travel. But once the tunnel is through, we will be able to actually offer the people of Tawang and our security forces all-weather connectivity.
An engineering marvel by India's BRO, the strategically important Atal Tunnel was named after ex-Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee to honor his contribution to the nation, and was officially certified as the world's longest highway tunnel, about 10,000 feet. The tunnel can be called a global feat as it has also surpassed China's Mila Tunnel as the highest tunnel built at an altitude of 15,585 feet. Once again a befitting reply to China's mockery of India's capabilities. The Atal Tunnel reduces the distance between Manali in Himachal Pradesh and Leh in Ladakh by 46 kilometers and travel time by 5 hours. Initially named Rohtang Tunnel, the total length of this tunnel is 9.02 kilometers, built in the Pir Panjal range of Himalayas at an altitude of 3000 meters. In case of any hostility, the tunnel will be crucial for providing logistical support to areas which remains cut off for nearly 6 months in a year. Besides remaining open throughout the year, it will also provide all-weather connectivity not only to our troops stationed in Ladakh, but also to the residents of Lahaul and Spiti Valley who remain cut off from the rest of the country during 4 long winter months.
Atal Tunnel is the longest tunnel above 10,000 feet of altitude in the world. It has this escape tunnel where we are standing right now. We have the main tube on top, and above that we have a ventilation slab, and below us is the drainage arrangement. So we have 4 levels, which makes it about 13.5 meters diameter. Now to cut this kind of a cross section through a shear zone, which the tunneling fraternity of the world had not seen before.
In the last 5 years, the BRO constructed close to 4,000 kilometers of roads close to Indian borders, of which majority happened in the northern and eastern sectors. 760 kilometers in Ladakh, 732 kilometers in J&K, 480 kilometers in Uttarakhand, and 644 kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh. The Defense Ministry has tasked the BRO with the construction of another 257 border roads spanning over 13,500 kilometers in 13 different states in the next 5 years. In addition, the Indian Railways are building 3 railway lines in the northeastern states. This will help the Indian Army transport soldiers, weapons, and supply faster along the LSE. The Nimupadam Dacha Road connecting Leh and Manali is a new substitute to the Srinagar Kargil Leh and Manali Salchu Leh Road, as it cuts down travel time from 12 to 14 hours to around only 6 to 7 hours. The most interesting part of this road is that it is untraceable by enemy countries as compared to the options I mentioned earlier, enabling secret movement of troops during conflicts without security risks. Moreover, this road will remain open almost all year round for all kinds of vehicles, including heavy-duty vehicles.
Now the importance of this road is that this road is shortest route for the army and civilian to travel from Manali or from Jammu side. Secondly, it traverses through low altitude comparatively, so it can be utilized for 10 to 11 months. Thirdly, here this road is not going through borders, so army movement cannot be seen by our enemies.
Apart from the border infrastructure projects that have either been completed or gathered momentum, the present government has a few more projects lined up. At the briefing in the Parliament in February this year, External Affairs Minister Shri S. Jaishankar released details of the government projects on border infrastructure and connectivity, which are focused on initiatives in the northeastern region and along 3,488 kilometers border with China, as well as projects connecting India to friendly neighboring countries such as Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal and Myanmar. Earlier on the 3rd of January, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh dedicated to the nation a total of 28 BRO infrastructure projects worth 724 crores. This included 22 bridges, 3 roads and 3 other projects in 7 border states and union territories. This was followed by the government deciding to set up committees of secretaries to fast-track implementation of infrastructure projects. Though India lags decades behind China in border infrastructure, it has finally taken the right steps in the right direction, affirming its resolve to not to surrender to its nefarious neighbors, rightfully sending the message across: do not mess with Indian territorial integrity. If you like our content, do like, share and comment on the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.